I was getting drug tested quite a lot as a player. I was starting to have to miss tournaments, miss events, just because I thought I might get tested.
This is the greatest sports person that's ever lived, pound for pound, and one of the most tortured.
My own kids, I was like, you're not playing snooker. I said, if you decide to play snooker, you're on your own. I'm not supporting that. It's a bad sport.
He openly shares his mistakes, his regrets, and how 100 times a year he would self-sabotage.
So much. I reckon I've sabotaged maybe 4 or 5 times in them 10 years. So that's a lot.
One of the most open humans and most fascinating guests we've had in over 1,000 episodes of the show. But before we get into this, let me know in the comments how you think Ronnie O'Sullivan will be remembered. Possibly one of the most controversial sports figures that's ever lived.
A lot of people talk about not getting around the wrong people. So let's help people define the wrong kind of people. What are their traits and habits?
Yeah.
Don't have to mention names, but you know, how do we avoid these people?
I think in a way it's sort of like you want someone that's going to support you no matter what, you know, through the tough times, the high times. And yeah, listen, if you're being a bit of a dick and you get home, you know, you're gonna get told, and you're gonna go, oh right, I've overstepped the mark. But when you're out there doing battle or you're doing something, it's like, you know, support that person, do what he's got to do, and like I said, it's like choosing your moments and your time. So you know, nobody's perfect, but I just think having that person that's behind you, and you know they're behind you. And I see it with certain snooker players; they've got that person that's behind them, and you just think, wow, that's a great asset for him, that he's got a team of people around him that are just there for him. Do you know what I mean? It's all about him, and it's all about, you know, having that support network, and a lot of, you know, some people that I've had, they come to tournaments and all they want to do is take. You know, can I have your waistcoat? Can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? And you're like, I'm just here, you know, I'm just here to play snooker, and all they're interested in is sort of like, you know, can you sign this? Can you sign that? Can you sign this for my friend? Can you say hello to my Uncle Terry? And you know, can you come around and give, you know. And you're like, wow, you know what I mean? Can't we just chill out here? You know, just have a nice bit of dinner and tea and put the TV on and just have a bit of a laugh. So I think sometimes you just got to like, and it's took me a while because I'm a bit of a people pleaser. So I just I never want to disappoint anyone. And but I've just learned over I've probably learned more in the last 5 years than I did in the previous 40. I'm a little bit more, you know, brutal with who I have around me, you know, and are they actually good to have around me, you know, and it's kind of like, so like in a way I'll invite one, you know, I've got 3 or 4 really, really good friends, and I think if I invite him, but then I invite 2 people that, you know, not bad people, but they're just liberty takers really, they're going to affect my good friend. So it's about, you know, I have to be careful who I invite and where that, you know. So sometimes I'll have my good friend with me, but I say to the other guy, look, I can get you tickets, but you know, there's no backstage stuff going on because, you know, it's just not going to happen. So you just kind of have to put people in certain places in a way. And listen, I mean, Steve Peters, when he first started working with me, he'd come in my dressing room, there'd be like 8, 9 people in there, and he went to me, he said, who are all these people? I went, well, that's him. It was like having a rave in my dressing room, right? He says, you're supposed to be playing a snooker match, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're supposed to be getting ready for this. And I'm like, yeah, I know, Steve, but I can't say no to him. And in the end, he was like, Ronnie, you know, and it was just like, and it was so hard. So I'd kind of go to a different room to talk to Steve. And then once I finished with Steve, I'd go back to my room and there was like 10, 15 people in there. And in the end, I thought, this ain't no good either, do you know what I mean? So I kind of just, when I'm at tournaments now, I just have me and Steve, and I really get the best out of Steve, and we have a fantastic relationship. Or then another tournament, it'd be me and Damien, and that's great, and we have a fantastic relationship. And, you know, they're my 2 most important people, if you like, when I'm at snooker. You know, Damien is unbelievable, and Steve is unbelievable. Damien, painting.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he loves snooker, and he's been a fantastic friend to me, and it's so different with Steve. It's very
Damien.
Yeah.
Damien Hirst.
Yeah. With Steve, it's very like, you know, machine-like, but with Damien, it's like, you're a king. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, it'll come when it comes, and that's just because he's creative. You know, he'll go and paint when he's feeling creative, and if he's not feeling creative, It's like, it's not happening today. And he always says, I don't know how you do it. At 2 o'clock, you've got to play. He said, but you might not feel like playing at 2 o'clock. I go, I know. He says, I just couldn't do that. He said, and all these people watching you as well. So he totally gets it. Because, you know, I play snooker in a creative way. And some days I don't feel like being creative. And I'm not a machine. So it's very hard for me to go out there and go from creative person to machine-like. But I've had to learn that because it's the nature of the sport. You know, a sport demands discipline from you, you know, like to do things when you don't actually want to do it, you know. People paid their money, you know, I don't feel like it today, I can't do it. It's different for Damien, he can pick and choose when he does, but, and I'd love to have that option, and that's what practice is like. Some days I go in, I have a 20-minute rule. If after 20 minutes I'm not enjoying it, cue goes away in the case, and I go down to the restaurant and I eat lovely food, and I read a book, and I have a laugh, and I have a wonderful day. Because if it ain't good after 20 minutes, it certainly ain't gonna be good after 2.5, 3 hours. So I kind of learned to sort of like minimize, if you like, you know, and just kind of, you know, if I can just have 10% of and 90% of good, I'm gonna have a good life, you know. And if you look at over a 10, 15, 20 year period, I'm better off managing my life like that, and probably will get the best out of myself if I just make sure that, you know, there's much more good times than there are bad times. So, yeah.
All right. You did say earlier that some people say, I wouldn't change anything about my life, and you went, I'd change. Maybe one main thing you'd change?
For sure, I would never have picked up a drink, and I always think for any youngster out there, don't.
Yeah, where's the upside in that?
Yeah, there absolutely is no upside. Don't, you know, try not smoke, don't drink, all them sort of stuff. Keep yourself fit. So yeah, I mean, I just think lead a healthy life. You know, study successful people. You know, don't necessarily have to be in your sport. Steve Davis was a great role model for me. Michael Jordan, he was a basketball player, but again, I kind of changed the way I approached snooker through watching Harry approach his basketball. You know, he was an athlete. You know, in bed early, eating the right foods, and I thought, well, why should I be any different? You know, you listen to Jeff Bezos. He likes to be in bed, gets his 8 hours sleep, likes to do, you know, doesn't like to pack up his diary. And I just think, well, you can learn. He's a successful person, so I can learn something from him that I can apply to my own life. And I just think, just read, you know, just tuning up. It's like a Ferrari, it needs tuning up, and sometimes just a little tweak here and there can make all the difference, you know. And I just think
down the A1.
Yeah, down the A1. And I just think, yeah, so there's a lot of things I would have done differently, you know, like not drinking, and I probably, it's a bit late now, but I probably wouldn't have took snooker up either. That was another mistake
Should we just
made.
cut?
No,
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you. I mean, I always say to young kids and their parents come up to, I said, don't let him play. I said, don't let him play this game. My own kids, I was like, you're not playing snooker. I said, if you decide to play snooker, you're on your own. I said, because I'm not supporting that. It's a bad sport. It can cause you a lot of damage. Unless you're Stephen Hendry, Steve Davis, John Higgins, Mark Williams, me, Judd Trump, Selby, Robertson, forget it. The others are wasted, you know, it's just a waste of a life. And even some of them names that I've mentioned to you, even some of them I just think, yeah, they're good at what they do, but if they could equally be good at something else, I would have said, go for the other thing. Because I just think snooker is just a really, really tough sport. You know, you're stuck indoors, there's no natural light, draw the curtains, pitch black, you're in there for 5-6 hours, you don't talk to anyone because you're focused and you've got to concentrate. Any little bit of concentration, you can ruin your day if it's broken. And you just think, hey, that's not healthy. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not a good way to spend your life, you know. If you look at a lot of snooker players, they don't know how to have a conversation because they don't talk. And you just think, really, life's all about, you know, getting the buzz and the joy of life. So for me, I've kind of detached from snooker. You know, for the last 20 years, they don't see me at a venue. A lot of players go, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I have a life, you know. I like to enjoy doing other things. You know, I can turn up at a match at 2 o'clock, I'm on at 2, but at 1:50, I put my shirt and tie on, I don't need to practice. You know, I'm not that bothered. You know, if you know, I've been playing this game for 30 years or whatever. You know, if I ain't ready now, I'm, you know, another 20 minutes on the practice table and another this, and it ain't making no difference. So I kind of, yeah, I've kind of learnt to just sort of, like I said, you know, I wouldn't have chose snooker. I probably would have chose golf. I probably would have chose Formula One. Or some sort of driving thing. I love driving. I just think, you never feel unhappy driving a car at speed and sort of getting the grip round the bend. So I think I would have chose a different sport or a sport that allowed me to be more at home, you know, so the travelling can be hard with snooker. So like if maybe you're a footballer or something, you know, you get to stay at home Monday to Friday, you go away for the weekend. Yeah, that'd suit me down to the ground, you know.
Did you at one point get quite into, was it Buddhism?
Yeah.
Because that sounded a little bit Buddhist, what you said there, in a way. What got you into that and how did that help you?
I think what kind of got me into that was I went into a rehab, I think it was in 2000. Yeah, I was having some problems with drinking and smoking a bit of dope at the time and stuff like that. And I kind of got to a point where it wasn't fun, it wasn't really giving me the release that it did when I first started. And I kind of thought I need to really knock this on the head because obviously, you know, I was getting drug tested quite a lot as a player, and I thought, you know, this dope stays in the system for like 30 days, you know, so like I was starting to have to miss tournaments and miss events just because I thought I might get tested, and I'd rather not play than get tested again for cannabis because I got done once for it. And so I was kind of like, I thought I'm screwed here. Unless I find a way to get off this weed and this beer, I'm like, you know, maybe it's time to retire. And I was only like 24, and I thought, what else am I going to do in my time? I only know how to play snooker. It's not like I could go and do anything else. So I stuck myself in, well, I didn't stick myself into a rehab, somebody else did. I thought, that's a bit harsh though, you know, like, I thought that was for hardcore addicts, you know, and but for me it was probably the best thing I ever done, you know, so I got a month off of everything, came out, and I've never looked back really, and part of the process of kind of getting well, if you like, was to try and find a higher power. A lot of people went to religion. I thought, I'm not really down with rules, you know, I'm not good with rules. So I thought anyone telling me that I've got to do this and do that and do this and do that, I was like, you know, but I tried it and I can see why people like it, and it can work. It can work for some people. It can work for some people, but it just wasn't going to work for me. So Buddhism was kind of like I don't know, it was something that I thought maybe kind of could give me some structure, give me some peace, because I needed a bit of peace of mind, you know, within this snooker depression, within this sport that I really think is a tough sport, what it is for me, some people it might not be. I need to find that little bit of inner peace, you know, that place where I can take myself to and just kind of like feel all right about myself, you know, whether I play well or not. If I can take myself to that place where I think, you know, life's okay, then I'm able to probably cope with the demands of snooker. So Buddhism was a good one for me because it allowed me to just try and just find that contentment without handing my life over to this higher power that already had the plan made, you know. So for me, when I looked at like a God in a way, I kind of thought, if he's already made the decisions, what's the point of me putting in the effort? And I mean, I could try really hard here all day, and yet he's already made the decision. And that really bothered me. But with Buddhism, there was none of that. It was just like, you just find your own peace, your own rhythm, and kind of like, you still have an element of control of what the outcome can be, you know. I never like to feel like that I have no control out of the outcome of any situation. So Buddhism worked really well for me, and I still kind of hold on to some of them teachings, you know, because sometimes...
What was the main teachings that you got from it?
I think what it was just about, you know, like you'd have, let's say you have three people, one person you didn't really like, one that was neutral, and one that you really liked, and you kind of wish them all the same sort of happiness, the same sort of good luck, and this, you know, so you kind of like, let's say there'd be people on a snooker tour that I'd think, oh, I really can't stand him. But I'd have to start wishing him really happiness for him and his family. And actually, it made me feel a lot more okay with him, you know. And in the end, I had a better relationship with this guy. So I totally bought into it in a way, you know, because why wouldn't you want to wish someone well, you know? Because I didn't get on well with him, you know, he's still a father, he's still a husband, he's still got his own life going on. So, and when I was holding maybe a grudge against that person, it was only damaging me. He probably didn't really care, you know what I mean?
You might not have even known.
Well, I think he did.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of let him, you know, I kind of have a good way of letting people know that, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to suffer their really, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm a lot better at suffering people's now, but I just pacify them now. I just kind of go, oh yeah, okay, cool. Whereas before I'd be like, oh, do you know? I want them to know that I think they're not that I'm not really down with them. So, but no, I'm a lot more gentler now, and also I think as well with faults, like I was talking about faults in snooker. You know, you can kind of grab onto them. But with Buddhism, it's kind of like you don't try and get rid of them, but it's like a conveyor belt. Imagine like an Amazon of parcels going by. Every one of them parcels is a different fault, but you just let them go. And you look at them and they go and they go. And it's like you're training your mind to just kind of not deny them, but I'm not grabbing at them, you know, I'm not going to let them take hold of me. So, you know, it's a little bit like a Navy SEAL. You're training yourself to be able to perform under the most extreme pressures, and a lot of the stuff you do off the table benefits you on the table. So you kind of, as a sportsman, you always perform your best when you're content, you're relaxed, but you're ready to fight. You know, you have to be ready to fight, because if you haven't got that fighting spirit in you, then you can never really dominate your opponent, you know, because it's a tough world, you know, it's a tough sport, any sport, and only the fittest survive. So, you know, I never try to deny that fight in me, because that fight has got me through my career and has made me a tenacious, competitive opponent, and that's what's, you know, that's the most important thing. But within that, I think you can kind of do it and have peace as well, you know.
Mm. So we found you saying that, and again, correct me if these are right or wrong.
Yeah.
I was the king of self-sabotage. Yeah. Is that something you said, and what did you mean by that?
I didn't know it. I really didn't know it until I started working with Steve Peters. And then he went to, one of the first times we met, he said, you know, you go into sabotage mode. And I was like, wow, I do. And it's like I said to you, like, I get to Thursday and I'm like, I'm out of here. But that's sabotage. That wasn't, I mean, Steve calls it the chimp, so you got the human and the chimp, and my chimp would be like, you know what, I can't stand the pressure, I'm not going to beat this guy, even if I get through this match, I'm going to lose on Friday, I might as well lose today, I might as well, you know, go home, have a few drinks, you know, have a barbecue, you know, so that's a form of sabotage, because I was grabbing on to them faults, and I believed they were really real, and it wasn't until after the game, so just say I've sabotaged the game, I'd get back to my room, I'd feel really, you know, all right about it, but then an hour later I'd thinking, what an idiot, you know, I wish I could have tried a bit harder, I could have stuck in that match, and I'm quite gutted that I'm not going to be playing tomorrow. Yeah. And it was kind of, I was allowing that sabotage faults to take over, and since working with Steve Peters, he's made me realise that that's all bollocks, you know, them sabotage faults are not me, that's just the pressure, the situation, and that's me just going, I'm running for the exit door. Now I don't run for the exit door, I go, yeah, things might not be going for me, but I'm here to fight. And I'm here to fight to the last ball, and if I lose, I shake my opponent's hand and I go, you know what, well done, you've done well. So I've got no regrets. And I think pre-working with Steve Peters, I would sabotage 13 times a year. And then the other...
You've got like a system?
Yeah. 13 times I would bail out. I'd go, right, I'm going for the exit door. I wouldn't say I'm going for the exit door, but that was what it is, fight, flight or freeze. And I would freeze, or I would flight. I'd be like, I'm out of here. And since working with Steve Peters, which has been 10 years now, it's a decade, which is a long time, and he's one of my favourite humans. I love him, I really, really do. And he's helped me so much. I reckon I've sabotaged maybe 4 or 5 times in them 10 years. So that's a lot. So if you say like 13 times a year times 10, that's 130 sabotages. I've cut 130 down to 5 sabotages.
That's good skills.
So, and it just shows in the amount of tournaments that I've won since working with Steve Peters, because I've just learned to just fight, you know, and stay calm. Fight and stay calm. you know, and that's really what sabotage is all about, you know, and I just apply it into a lot of other things that I do in life, because, you know, I don't like too much hard work. I sometimes want to run away from it, but now I just face it and realise that if I do my best, that's enough.
Now, I've been on a mission for 17 years to help as many people on this planet get better financial knowledge. If, like me, you'd like to make, manage and multiply more money, I recommend that you join my digital financial freedom platform. It's really easy to join. You just type in rob.team. There you're going to learn my 4 M's of making, managing, maintaining and multiplying more money. And the even better news is there's no risk to you, because it costs less than 20 pence a day to join. You can cancel anytime. Join right now. I'll also give you my 12-week Money Mastermind University completely for free. It exposes the banking system and teaches you how to play them at their own game. If you join rob.team right now, you get that completely for free. Just type in rob.team. We'll see you inside with the 10,000 other members in rob.team.
You like property, don't you?
Yeah, but it's boring though, isn't it?
Like it, but it's boring. It is actually
it's boring,
really boring.
It's safe, it's boring, but it's okay. I mean, listen, I would like, I watch these shows, you know, Homes Under Home, whatever it is, and they get in there. I'd enjoy that side of it, but just buying, holding and collecting rent is a bit boring. It's safe, but it's boring.
Burnout. Have you ever had burnout? How'd you deal with burnout? How'd you get out of burnout?
Yeah, I had it really bad once in 2016, I think it was. I just took on too much work. I don't know, I was listening to some other person. I think it was I can't remember. I think it might have been J-Lo. I was reading about her, and she just kept working and not having enough sleep. And one day just woke up and just started having these panic attacks. You know, you don't see it coming, and I think that's what you do when you kind of take on too much, you do too much, and some of it is a lot of stress and pressure. I think it just kind of hits you at some point. So once I had that, and it wasn't great, but yeah, a bit of medication sorted that one out.
Come to life now.
Good old medication. No, it was weird because
was it helpful to you then?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I was playing in the World Championships. I think it was 2016. I was playing well as well. But I'd done a lot of exhibitions and stuff. My diary got screwed up basically, and I just ended up doing stuff that I wouldn't have normally done. But I just thought I can't let people down, so I kind of just crammed it all in. Got to the World Championships, played my first match, and I just had a bit of a meltdown in the dressing room. And my mate just took me to the clinic in London. I had 6 days or 5 days between my first and second match. And I went in this clinic and I just said to the woman, I said, look, I just need a good night's sleep. I said, I'll be all right. Anyway, 3 days later, I still wasn't all right. And she kept coming to me going, look, we want to give you these tablets, this and that, you'll be great, you'll feel good. I went, no, I don't want to take no tablets, I'll just, you know. And I thought, I've got like 48 hours and I'm meant to be playing my next match here, you know what I mean? I thought, you know, I've got nothing to lose, so I went, give me them tablets. And literally within about half an hour, I went, right, I'm ready to go. And it was amazing, you know, because I was convinced that I just needed some rest, and she was convinced that there was something else going on, and just take this couple of pills, one to deal with anxiety and one for something else. And she said, you'll be all right. But, so yeah, it worked, and I kind of come out and went straight to Sheffield and played great. I lost, but I played great. Yeah, so there you go, played great and lost. It can happen.
Would you rather play great and lose or and win?
Probably a handful of times I played really well and lost, so I'd rather play well and lose because it doesn't happen very often. Playing bad, I never deal with that pretty well, I never get any satisfaction out of it. So even like when I won tournaments, I kind of just thought, well, I didn't actually enjoy it. You know, I know I've won the tournament, that's great and brilliant, you know. Because a few days later, you kind of sit there and think, well, it doesn't really matter how I played. But at the time, you know, just for selfish reasons, I just like to play well. I like to be able to think that whenever I come to the table, there is nothing that can stop me from doing whatever. You know, just give me a shot. Give me a shot and I'll make it happen. When you're playing bad, it's like you pot one ball, you pot the next, and you pot the next, and it's like one ball at a time. It's like, whereas normally I just come to something and think, right, I'm going to clear up. Before I've even cleared up, I know it's going to happen. So that feeling, it's like a superpower feeling in a way. And then the other feeling just makes you feel normal, and you're like, you know, this game's quite difficult. And then other days you go, like, this is easy, you know, like, you know, just a doddle. So, you know, I much prefer having that feeling of where everything just feels like, you know, you can do whatever, you know, anything, you know.
So I'm sure we've all got our own favourite sporting moments. I'm a Liverpool fan, so when we won the Champions League final, I love cricket, so, you know, some of the Ashes series are immense. But my favourite ever moment in sport is when you started playing left-handed out of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Out of nowhere, and I just thought, never seen anything like that. How can anyone be that good left-handed? And I know it wasn't taken, your opponent felt it was a bit disrespectful. I just thought it was wow. It was a wow moment for me. Why'd you start playing left-handed?
I think you get bored. No, you do. You get bored with what you're doing, and then some days you have to go, okay, I'm really bored, but I love what I'm doing, but I need to sort of make it a bit interesting. So I go, okay, well, I started potting a few balls left hand. I thought, actually, it feels all right, you know. So I started doing like an hour a day, 2 hours a day, because I just wanted to see how good I could get with it. So it kind of, you know, a lot, you know, it's like, I don't know if other people have it with their job or their work, but you just think, oh, you know, and then you give them something different to do, and they go, oh, actually, you know, so it was just a way of sort of like finding that enthusiasm for the game again. And so yeah, you're kind of always trying to make your work interesting, fun. So yeah, it was just to kind of like deal with the boredom, I suppose. Boredom of just potting balls. Same. Well, let's try that. It's a bit different, you know. Keeps it interesting.
And then after a while, did you want to merge it into part of your game? Because obviously certain shots is better, isn't it?
I tried, and it was quite difficult to kind of balance between playing left and right-handed, and I could beat pretty much 99% of the people on the tour doing that, you know. So it was a good get out of jail card for me, because I knew that it was reliable. You know, when I played right-handed, I was very like hit and miss, but the left hand kind of steadied me up, and steady was good enough to beat the majority of players. But then I played Stephen Hendry once. I mean, I played the first time I used it properly was when I played Peter Ebdon in the semi-finals of the Premier League. I can't remember when it was, 1997 maybe. And I played the first frame and I'd lost it playing right-handed. I thought, oh, I'm going to get beat here playing like this. There's no chance I'm going to win. I just started playing left-handed, and I hammered him 6-1, and I made like 6-7 breaks over 70. And Willie Thorne always said, tells a story. He said, I come in and they said, oh, he's 3-1 up, but he's playing left-handed. And Willie Thorne said, oh, I've got to give a bit of stick in the commentary box. He said, but you come out and you went 80, 90, 100. He said, I couldn't say anything. So, yeah, and I beat him 6-1. And then the next day I had to play Hendry. And Hendry was a different kettle of fish, because Ebdon was kind of like, you know, he's just quite boring. And, you know, it's easy to look good against Ebdon, do you know what I mean? It's sort of like...
Pete, he's just watching now. Yeah.
But then I played Hendry. He was a different animal. He was so fluent, attacking, aggressive, and I tried to play left-handed, and so it was like getting that blend right. I still beat Hendry in the final. I think it was 10-7, but I literally played probably 20 or 30% of the match left-handed, because that's all I could get away with. Because I needed some flow, you know. So I needed to have that bounce around the table. I needed to be in his face. I needed my tempo, you know. I needed to, you know, play with a certain amount of instinct as well, because that's what can throw your opponent off as well. Where the left hand, it just steadied me up. So it was kind of like quite nice to try and find that balance, and all through that match, that's all I was trying to do. Because I probably wouldn't have won it if I'd have played all right-handed. Again, the left-handed just got me interested in playing. It got me excited about playing. I think that's the key to playing well, is just being excited about wanting to get out there and play, you know.
So in our research, it's estimated that you've made over £12 million in snooker winnings. Do you keep count of the money? Did you even know that?
No, not really. No, I never really look at anything like that, you know, like the statistics of snooker. You know, like I said, I always played just for the love of the sport, to try and win the titles, and just for me, it's just, I like playing, you know, I like competing, I like performing, I like entertaining the crowds. When I say entertaining the crowds, I like the buzz that I feel when there's a crowd. If I'm on it, I know deep down that they're enjoying it as well, you know what I mean? Because if I'm having a good time, I know they're having a good time, and I know, because I've seen a lot of snooker players, and I know that they don't do it how I do it, and I just think, well, that's nice to be able to let other people. So that's why I love doing the exhibitions. I go to a club, and it's like this dirty old club, because that's what snooker clubs are. Proper grimy, but I love them because it takes me back to when I was a kid and I was in these dark snooker halls where you could smell the carpet, the this, the that. And I go there and there's like 150 people all sitting there and they're all dressed up, they're all looking forward to the night, and I think you're going to get a good night tonight. And I go bang, 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 and you can introduce them going, oh, oh, oh. And when I'm hitting the ball, it's like making a lovely noise, and then I open the balls up and I put it down there and they go, oh, and, like, and I'm enjoying it. Because I'm thinking, this geezer's having an orgasm. You know what I mean? Like, he's been with his missus for 20 years. He's forgot what it's like to have an orgasm. And yet he's come to watch me play snooker. And this geezer's getting really excited. And I see him at the end of it and they go, oh, mate, that's unbelievable the way you hit that. And, I've watched everyone play, but no one does it like, you know, I go. And I get it. And I love that he's paid maybe 70, 800 quid for a ticket. And I think, that's a cheap night. He's had a great night. He's gone home for wonderful. And that's a great feeling to be able to do that. It's like actors, they go on TV, they do what they do, but when you get on theatre and in stage and you've got a live audience like that, and it's not televised, but it's just raw, and you can do stuff that I do in an exhibition, I'll get excited by that, you know. I love that feeling, you know.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah.
Right. Tony Knowles says, you're not the best snooker player ever. So do you think you are? No. And if you don't, who do you think?
No, he was right. He was right. Yeah. John Higgins for me is the greatest snooker. Listen, it's very hard for me because growing up, Hendry was my hero. Davis was my hero, but Hendry, kind of, you couldn't ignore what Hendry done in the sport. So he kind of become my new hero, and I went, you know what? He is the king of snooker, and if I didn't have that admiration for Hendry, because I was a kid looking up to Hendry, I was 14, he was 21, he was world champion. I was like, he's who I want to be. Me and John Higgins were the same age, but if John Higgins was 7 years older than me, I probably would have said John Higgins is the greatest snooker player I've ever seen, because he, like I said earlier in the interview, he's the most complete player. If you was going to build a snooker player, John Higgins would be what you would build. You'd go, you know what, he's going to last the test of time. He's definitely going to win the world championship. He's definitely going to be number one. He's definitely going to, when he's on, he's unplayable. You know, it's like if you was a betting man, bet on John Higgins for the rest of your life, because you'd be a very wealthy man. But if you start to bet on Ronnie, you know, it could go good, it might not go good. It's a bit of a risk. Like, you'll have a few sleepless nights. You don't get that with John Higgins. So when Tony Knowles said that, and Graham Dott said that as well, I was like, yeah, I totally agree with you. I can't not, you know, but what I've kind of managed to do, and I thank John Higgins because he's inspired me to be a better player. I looked at him and thought, I'm never going to be as good a safety player, but I kind of need to try and improve in my safety to, you know, if he's at 10, if I can get to 8, that's enough. Whereas before I was at 2 or 3, I need to get that up to 8, you know what I mean? And he's inspired me to become a better player, to become a different player, to become a better match player. But yeah, I totally agree. John Higgins is probably the best player that I've ever played. But it's hard because obviously Hendry's my hero, and I've took some good ideas off of Hendry, but I was early in my career then, and Hendry was in his peak. Whereas John Higgins, we're both the same age, so we kind of like, no one had an advantage because we were both, it's like a Formula 1 car, the two Mercedes going head to head. You know, there was no one had an advantage. We both come up in the same era, and yeah, for me, he's the most complete player I've ever seen.
Great. Right.
And I don't feel bad about saying that, you know. No. Maybe I couldn't have admitted that 15 years ago, 20 years ago, because like you say, that would have been a weakness. That would have been like, probably that's not the sort of thing I'd want John Higgins to have known when he was 21, 22, because he would have probably gained strength from it. But now I'm 45 and I don't really care. I can sit down at a table and go, you know what, John, you actually were a better player than me. Yeah. I know I've got more tournaments and won whatever, but I just think that's just through, I don't know what it was through. Maybe I'm a better player than I give myself credit for. I don't know. And maybe my style of play, I could beat certain players a lot easier than John Higgins' style of play. You know, like I'm a bit like, I'm either on or I'm off. I either blow people away or I get blown away. So I think, yeah, I can't quite work out why he hasn't won more than me, but you know, we've both done pretty well.
Yeah, I bet if you ask some of them who's the greatest player that's ever lived, they'd say you.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, like if you said, like, you know, John Higgins, yeah, he'd probably say, you know, me, you know, Hendry, maybe, you know, a lot of people say maybe it's Selby. I don't really know, but yeah, I think a lot of the snooker fans that don't really know the intricacies of the game would probably all say me. But then if you get people that really know the game, they would probably either say me, Hendry or Higgins. Us three would be the three that they would kind of, you know, if you had like 100 people, you probably get 30 say Ronnie, 30 say Higgins and 30 say Hendry and whatever, you know. So yeah, maybe a lot of the snooker fans kind of like, because of my style and like I said, the way I do it, and they just go, oh, I love the way Ronnie plays, and they all want to play like me, they all like the rocket and this and that. And so I kind of get that vote, if you like, but if you just break it down into pure skill, tenacity, temperament, you know, I'd say Higgins and Hendry have got a much better temperament than me. I've just managed to sort of, I think it's my Italian sort of passion that has kind of drove me through, and I've played from emotion. Most of the time I play from emotion, whereas John and Hendry, they're like tough Scotch people. They're unbreakable.
Yeah.
You know, whereas me, I fall apart, but then I build myself back up, and I fall apart, and I build myself up, and everyone's like, oh, how's he done that one week? And then he looks all right this week. Yeah. You know, so, but, you know, I think that's what kind of draws people to give me the nod, if you like, of being the best player that's ever played, I suppose.